Hi, and welcome to week 12 of the Alabama Weekly. This week we will be discussing the impact of the 1920s, the Great Depression, and its effect upon America and specifically Alabama. The Roaring Twenties, as we discussed last week, were a time of prosperity, and then people were sort of going into poverty and then back again. Basically, after World War I, jobs were easy to find, pay was high, things were great, people were buying houses and cars, there was electricity, people were moving out of farming areas and they were moving into cities. This was a time of progress and there was a great emphasis upon education. However, the Great Depression struck in 1929 and prosperity came to an end. Businesses failed, banks failed, people lost their jobs, the stock market crashed. All the money that they had was lost. They began trying to sell their stocks, but nobody could buy them and they continued to lose. So, pretty much, it led to a panic, people taking their money, and everybody was at a loss. How did this happen? Basically, it comes down to supply and demand. Industries and farms were producing more than they could sell. They the many countries bought goods from the United States, but and the U.S. was selling them, but more countries were beginning to make their own, so they were no longer needing to buy them from the U.S. People were borrowing money for houses, they were using credit, and then once the US was not selling as many items, these people began getting laid off from work or factories were closing and the price for farming products dropped. Unemployment was extremely high in Alabama across the board, and the non-farm unemployment rate was the highest of all southern states. Banks couldn't collect on the loans because people couldn't pay them, and most people lost all their savings. So it wasn't just a specific area, it was United States wide and worldwide. And the worst year of the Depression was 1932. Most people were uncertain about their future, and President Franklin Delano Roosevelt thought that he could help get over the Depression by starting this proposal called a New Deal. And he helped them to have jobs, and he built a lot of public works. They started a lot of public programs. Some of the ones were like the Civilian Conservation Corps, and this one promoted building bridges and roadways and dams, and this allowed men between 18 and 25 to become employed. There was the Rural Electrification Administration, the REA, that basically started supplying electricity to the rural farming communities so that they could have refrigerators and radios and things like that. And one of the largest ones in our area was the Tennessee Valley Authority, or the TVA, that we still currently have. And this was set up by Congress in 1933, and they built dams to harness the flow of the Tennessee Valley River, and this stopped floods. This allowed for electricity, and it also helped provide jobs. Two of the other big things that came out of the Great Depression were Social Security, that gave benefits to retired people. It also helped aid needy children, and the FDIC, or the Federal Deposit Insurance Corps, and that still exists today. If you look, that was made to ensure that banking was safer, so that this was an insurance against your money in a bank so that we would never have a depression again.